Hello, welcome to the third part of where should you spend your marketing budget on your website or on your marketing channels. In the last part, we talked about how you might be able to use some of the tactics around search to improve your traffic and drive down your cost per clicks. In the final part, we can look at how do you improve your conversion rates. Now, one of the important things to remember is that not all marketing channels are created equal. Some will convert much higher than others. And again, the illustration in our example plan here shows that search will typically convert 1.5%, 2%, whereas things like social will convert much, much lower and certainly display in the single digit percents. But regardless, we should always be trying to figure out ways to improve the conversion rates of those channels. How do you go about doing that? Well, some examples here may give you some tips. The first one is about looking at your booking funnel, your sales funnel, and how do you optimize some of the stages in that process. Let's take an example of you're selling a holiday or booking a holiday. People will be going through the site, searching, finding availability, then wanting to book the thing that they found. With Google Analytics, if we set the traffic up and the funnel up and correctly in the back end, we are able to identify each stage of that journey and identify ways that we can be improving the dropouts. One of the biggest things that frustrates me and frustrates everyone I speak to, yet I still see happen all the time, is when you have a website and you're looking to book something, having a login or create my account page often puts a lot of people off, often loses lots of customers, and often is just basically a waste of time. So if you have a login page and a my account page, are you able to test removing it? And if so, do that test, because it may well increase your conversions. Having a funnel in place allows you to identify things like that, or other pages which may be slow to load, where you haven't identified the price clearly. All these sorts of things allow you to see where people fall out of the funnel, and if you can fix some of those things, your conversion rates will start to improve. Again, if you have a funnel that you're trying to take people down for sales, people do not like uncertainty. Again, it's quite a common thing that we see where websites are asking people to complete a form, but there's no clear indication about how long that form is going to take. After the third page, they might start to get frustrated or bored. Using the example of Amazon, the biggest retailer online in the world, they've honed this process over many years. They take away all of the navigation, but importantly, they show you the process that you're going through and how far you are through the journey. And they also make it very easy to click a button, to reorder, to say I want a delivery, all the little things that you're going to be thinking about when you're trying to buy something, they have covered off and they've outlined it to you. Another example from the travel industry again is around using some social cues, some behavioural cues to highlight scarcity perhaps. This example from Flybe, it's quite clever, it's used in the right way I think, but it highlights when people were last booking the flights that I'm looking at and prompts me with a little pop-up to say, if you are thinking about booking this, time is going to run out. So you create some impetus for people to be making that booking now. Again, it can help to just nudge your conversion rate up a little bit. But again, I mentioned before, conversion rates do vary wildly by channel. And when we think about where do we spend our budgets to drive people to our site, not all channels are created equal. The example that we've got for this particular client of ours shows that organic is a very big driver of conversions and traffic, but social media is the second biggest driver of traffic, yet it's one of the worst performing channels. So it shouldn't just be about how do I look at my website and convert it better. It's also thinking about where that traffic originates from, what the intent of those users is, and how do you match the two. One final thing to think about, again, particularly in the travel tourism industry, but also from a B2B perspective, is the fact that people are not always going to convert through a form. Quite often there may be a complicated sale, they may have some questions. Having a phone tracking system in place to allow you to collect or change the phone number based on the channel would allow you to really understand all of the different ways that people get in contact and make sure that you are attributing success to the right places. One area which I've become really fascinated with is around behavioural economics, which is really looking at how you can apply psychology in a business context to make people do some of the things that you might want them to do. This is an example from an insurance company, a very big insurance aggregator. What they found was they had lots of people who were completing forms on their websites for car insurance, and they weren't being particularly honest. They played around, they tested some of the forms on the website, and they found that by just planting very, very subtle cues throughout the page about words like police, using the phrase found out or caught, not in an overt way, but throughout the page, that they actually managed to increase the credibility, the accuracy, the truthfulness of the people who were completing the forms. So when you think about conversion, it doesn't even necessarily have to be things very overt. You can really be quite subtle in the way that you present your pages, the way you use language to get people to make the actions that you want to. So it's a really interesting psychological case of how we can improve our website optimization. And the final thing, I guess, to consider is that when we are using our website and looking for conversions, conversions don't always happen on the first instance. Again, we see this with our travel and tourism clients. That journey can be very long, elongated. People have got to go away and discuss the holiday, the place they're going to go, and make decisions over a period of days, sometimes even weeks. So looking at attribution, looking at conversion on just a last visit is sometimes a bit naive. We have many, many tracking tools in place that we use for our clients that really help us to understand the journey, the success of each of the channels, the roles they play, and how we can really improve each of those little things to nudge people along to convert at the right points. And again, just to reiterate, social tends to be one of the poorer performing ones. It's not to say it doesn't have a role in terms of influencing the journey. So to summarise where you can make improvements, where you need to be thinking, really some final things to take away. So first, if you're doing paid search, keep testing new features, keep playing around with your bids, trying to optimise your Google ads, which is probably where you spend most of your budget, is really, really important. Where we see a lot of people and agencies come to us is where they haven't done that. So really think about an ongoing optimization strategy. If you're thinking about doing SEO, then really think about creating specific content that's really, really powerful, really, really important for your users and increasingly important for Google. This also applies to social media. Creating good content for your audience on those channels is really, really important, rather than posting pictures of cats on a Friday afternoon. So think about your social audience, think about what they want, and create really, really good content, and really engage with people on social media. It's called social for a reason. We have to try and interact. Don't treat it as just a broadcast channel. Again, that's where people tend to go wrong. And if you are doing social, then really you need to be thinking about a paid and an organic approach to get the best results. If you're thinking about growing your conversions, email is a really good channel to bring people back to your website. And finally, if you are doing all of these things yourself, you may well be doing too much. The digital world is very much a growing place. Trying to do all of these things yourself in-house can sometimes be a problem. So if you need expert advice, there are many, many agencies out there who may be able to help. So hopefully you found your options, you've got some ideas from this talk. Please feel free to speak to me. My name's Andy Headington. You can reach me on LinkedIn and on Twitter or on the Adido handle, and we'll be more than happy to take your questions. So thank you very much for watching, and see you soon.